Hello everyone and welcome to Muddy Beards 4x4. I am Robbie and today we're going to be working on my 2005 Chevrolet Silverado 1500, or as I like to call it, Project Half-Ton Tow Rig. And today we're going to be working on the front brakes because my pads are all worn out and it needs new brakes. But keeping with the theme of Project Half-Ton Tow Rig, I am not just going to be replacing these with OEM parts. I want to upgrade it in order to make this truck a better performing, more reliable, and especially safer tow rig for my Jeep. So I went out and got this kit from EBC. This is their Stage 3 truck and SUV kit that comes with these Green Stuff pads, which are designed to keep down dust and also be better performing for towing. And it also came with these super sweet rotors, which are dimpled and slotted to also dissipate heat and dust. I am really excited to try out these EBC brakes. I've never actually used an EBC product, but they definitely have a great reputation and some stellar reviews online. So I'm pretty excited to get these things on the truck and try them out. Let's go ahead and get started. All right, with the truck now properly secured on jack stands and the wheel and tires removed, I can now access the brakes, and this job is honestly pretty easy. I would start with the brake fluid. So when I looked at my brake fluid, it's bad. It's really dark, so I'm going to actually go ahead and remove the brake line because I'm going to be running some new fluid through this system anyway. But if your fluid looks okay, then I wouldn't disconnect this, because then you have to re-bleed the brakes and everything. You don't want to have to do that, so you can just simply remove the caliper. It's pretty easy. I'm going to remove the entire bracket, pull the whole caliper off so I can inspect it and see if it needs any kind of rebuild. And to do that, there's just some 18mm bolts down here behind that secure in the bracket. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the brake line and then remove the bracket. I should be able to pull the whole caliper off. Now with the caliper removed, the rotor just simply slides right off. There's actually nothing that retains the rotors on these trucks. Now we can get started installing our new parts. Now before we actually go to install the new parts, let's talk calipers. Now I was not planning on replacing the calipers. I did not opt to go buy, the upgraded EBC calipers. They sell their own performance ones and they're pretty spendy, but honestly after everything I've read about the OEM calipers, they're good calipers. They work well. There's not a ton wrong with them. You don't hear a lot of stories about them with uneven wear or seizing up. But when I took these off, I definitely discovered some things. These have seen better days. So I looked at the numbers on them and the brand. I think that these are the original calipers to this truck. This truck has 224,000 miles on it. So you can kind of see here, the light, these pistons here are just really, really rusted. And I could push the pistons in by hand, when they're not hooked up to the braking system, and the seals started popping out of them, and it's got all kinds of weird, I don't even know what this is, corrosion, and I don't know what's going on. So I'm not sure if these would leak and if they would continue to work okay, but with brakes, I'm just not going to risk it. They do sell rebuild kits, but every part store in my area is out, of course, and the soonest I could get them online was like 2 weeks. I can't have my truck out for that long, so I guess I'm going to the parts store. Okay, with all the factory parts removed and my new brake calipers ordered, it's now time to assemble our super sweet EBC Performance Brake Kit. Before we do that, let's take a look at the rotors. They're actually labeled. See, this has the L on it, and I think they are directional because of the direction of the slots. So again, these are really, really cool. These are the 13-inch rotors that came on the 05 Silverado, and they have these slots that help dissipate heat and also dissipate that brake dust. And you notice how these are actually dimpled and not slotted. Again, according to EBC, this helps prevent heat buildup, which would cause brake fade, but also it's designed to keep as much surface area on the rotor as possible so that you still get good braking. So they're dimpled instead of actually fully slotted. So let's just go ahead and slide these on. Again, pretty simple there. And let's begin to put on our new caliper. So I like to start with putting on the bracket first, just makes things easy. One thing to check before you do, especially if you're not going to buy brand new calipers, is check these guide pins. They should move freely, and then also make sure that they're well greased, because this is an important component of your brakes. Your caliper will seize if these are seized, so make sure they move freely. Let's go ahead and put the bracket on using the 18mm bolts. Next, we'll install these little slide brackets into the brake caliper bracket. This is what the pads actually sit in and slide in. I like to add just a little bit of brake grease here just to make sure that we don't have a bunch of noise. Now we can slide in our brand new Green Stuff pads. You notice the red coating on here. Again, that's supposed to help with seating the brakes when you first go to set these brakes up. So I'm pretty excited to run these. Again, these are the Green Stuff Stage 4 pads for truck and SUV. Now before I put my calipers in, this kit also comes with these, basically they're the piston, a little piston cushion, which just slides right inside the bore of the piston on your brake calipers. And this is supposed to prevent squeaking. You know, normally you have like a backing plate or something, or people like to grease these because that's one of the areas that you get a lot of squeaking in your brakes. But according to the instructions here, these actually help. It's a really good cushion, prevents the squeaking. You don't need to add any extra grease or any extra backing plate. So just slide these onto the pistons and we'll put the piston on. And we're almost done, but of course we need to make sure that we reattach the brake line. Got a brand new banjo bolt and 2 copper washers. Take a look at that finished product. That looks awesome. Alright, well it has been about a week since I installed my EBC brakes, and after following all the instructions for the proper brake in and bedding process, I actually got to try out towing for the first time today with my truck. Now, I only towed my little boat and trailer, so it wasn't like it was a super heavy load, but I certainly noticed a big difference. These brakes perform really well. Now, I didn't do any kind of like data or do any kind of real test where I did, a 50 to 0 brake with stopping distance, measure the stopping distance with my stock pads and then versus the EBC ones. That would have been cool. So it's kind of like seat horsepower sort of feel, but I can definitely tell a difference. It is definitely a smooth and firm nosedive when you apply the brakes, and this thing just comes to a screeching halt now, and it's very controlled. There's zero noise, and like I said, it is just a firm nose plant when you really apply the brakes. So I'm really happy with them, and they seem to be working really well, and I can't wait to use them a little bit more when I'm actually towing something heavier like my car hauler with my Jeep on it. So if you would like to get yourself a set of these EBC brakes for your pickup truck, click the link below. That's a link to our Amazon page. You can buy them there. It's the best deal I found online, and it helps out the channel a little bit. If you like the video and you want to see more like it, click subscribe, hit the thumbs up, and check out the playlist Project Half Ton Tow Rig. And of course, till next time, we'll see you on the trail.